Hey everybody out there, how you doing? This is the engineer, episode 2. You know what I'm saying? Number 2 is start, big things. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people say, engineer, what is it exactly that you do? Yes, I've heard that name before. That name rings bells. But I heard that name in the streets. Not like, I'm hurting anybody, but I'm just saying, business wise, we heard them sometimes, but I haven't got paid yet. We're gonna fix that. But I don't even want to get, sidetracked. And, what is this, all about? And don't think all the shows are gonna be serious because we got some comic stuff coming up in some shows, some entertainment related stuff coming up in some shows, like musically and creatively. My vision. I'm kind of like a little bit all over the place with stuff. So I mean, you don't know exactly what to expect. But I'm just saying, this first couple of shows is kind of like a disclaimer. You know how Dave Chappelle had the disclaimer, so you kind of get to know him a little bit better. He's not just a comic. I mean, he's a person. He's got a point of view, something he's trying to say. And, it's like me, like I'm funny, but I don't want to just be reduced to that variable. Like this guy, he's just here to make us laugh as a clown. He might have some real poignant to say. It's like reduced by the fact that someone just think you're funny, but didn't get a chance to get to know you. It's because of serious background to you. You know some things too. You can do some things. So at the end of the day, sometimes I'd rather not be classified as a comic. So we'll have to see where this goes. Because, there's a lot of stuff I do, man. And like I said, the engineer, it rings bells. Because, business wise, I've put some things together for my lifetime. And like I said, it's interesting because I should be a bio major. And I was doing good, making straight A's and stuff like that without a full-fledged scholarship to Rutgers. And, and next thing dope ass family breakdown, convenient breakdown, force you to leave school because people start bugging out and stuff like that. And the home life get all wrecked, and you have to leave school because of the way they arrange things. I can't go into detail, but it's cool. Now I plan on trying to get back there. You know what I'm saying? Back to school, so I'm not done. But but this is where the story gets interesting because and you start to meet people in the streets, and you know, I wasn't in school at the time and stuff like that. So you start talking to people. This guy's kind of smart. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, you put stuff together with cats. It's getting like millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, all legit, all kosher. You know what I'm saying? But it was crazy because bio was my major, and I didn't realize had a little inclination for business. You know what I'm saying? People, engineer, what is it that you do? Yeah, it's hard to find. It's kind of like Pfizer. You know, they don't make the faucets; they make them better, and it's kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like you might be able to, like for me, be able to analyze the market really well. You know what I'm saying? Not from a book perspective, but just naturally. Just analyze it really well. Analyze certain demographics, certain target markets, certain variables, sales and stuff like that. I mean, certain trends. Um, be able to create niche markets that previously didn't exist for other corporations and stuff like that to exploit. You know, uh, take existing programs, streamline them, make them better, help someone with the proposal. It's like an overall kind of thing. Basically, to put it short, some of the work I did for some of these cats was to, I won't need no names, but just give a little background. Found cats about like 10 years worth of employment. You know, doing a job that was the easiest job they ever did, making more money than they ever did. A net, who knows, it could have pulled in like up to $10 million. And you would think people would pay you for that. You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, I didn't have the stuff signed, and people take advantage of that. But it's like some of it was kind of pro bono anyway. It's kind of get my name out there. Corporates kind of see those cats nice. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, due to the fact that I was dealing with some unprofessional people, like they decided not to pay me for my services. So I moved on. And make a long story short, the reason why they did that is because once I realized what they were doing, I was like, well, hey, I'm still in work with you. I'm like, well, you're gonna pay me. And it's like, oh yeah, well, I expected to get paid. So if I do anything else, well, we're gonna sign this documentation. And that's when they decided, oh well, we don't want to work with this guy. And I was like, cool. They reneged, and I was like, no problem, because whatever I do, I'm getting paid for it. And ironically, what their plan was, they said no, but then they hired a psychic to help them steal my ideas ahead of time or something, or before I can get them to the marketplace, with a series of lack of a better term, I call them like moles, and follow you everywhere you go and help them dig into your stuff, your intimate property. I guess what they're looking for is business perspectives, like planos, blueprints, uh, market analyses, and like what is the word I'm looking for? I just had the word on tip of my tongue too. Templates, and then artistic templates too, because I dabble in the creative arts too, like musically, um, visually, in terms of painting and landscape for backgrounds of movies and stuff like that. So recently they stole a series of my templates, just to go into detail to kind of explain what they're doing. And they're utilizing my templates in their fashion industry, of course, without my permission. I mean, they stole them, so it's like, what can you do? They use your moles of, breaking your property when you're not looking. One distracts you, one goes around the back, one takes the thing, breaks open the box, and you thought it was locked. I'm like, damn, this is deep, you know what I mean? And steal some templates out of there. One was an abstract art template, the thinker pose that goes like this, and it had like a bunch of separate geometric shapes that were fused together to form a composite of that man sitting there. But each separate geometric shape was its own separate entity, which was kind of like wow. As far as the abstracts go, like I never seen a lot of people say I never seen nothing like that before, and that was just one of my pieces though. I'm just naturally creative. So I could create an infinite series of things that people have never seen before. But I mean, of course, to them, because they're not creative, they see one of those and they're like, hey, that looks like something that could be a template for our fashion industry. And they incorporated that in some of their fabrics. And long story short, it just lets you know that it's a total ripoff because what they were doing as well is they were stealing a series of my hieroglyphic infused rings. As well as like etching hieroglyphics into rings and stuff, organizing upwards of 15 to 20 people at a time to steal one of these rings at a time. So I'm looking at the market and I just analyze that, you know, analytically, I'm looking at that and I'm saying to myself, the only time I've seen numbers of people organize themselves to steal things that small, they have to be extremely, uh, uh, pricey. Things like diamond rings is the only thing that comes to my mind. Because usually, if you see like a steel ring, a silver ring, no one's gonna do all that. You might pick up a gold ring or snatch one, but you're not gonna commit break and entry for a gold ring. But if you know a couple crackheads know someone that's got a diamond ring, and you'll see some organization going in there because it's worth the break and entry or whatever. So I'm like, okay. So long story short, I just kind of let people know. I just do build a little background. So as far as these rings go, these things that that are fused with the hieroglyphs and stuff like that I mean, uh, I'm not selling these things for anything less than about $1,000 to $2,000 pop right now. Because I'm looking at that. I've only seen people orchestrate things like that for things that are that like contain diamonds. Nothing less than diamonds. People will orchestrate that type of activity to steal. So that combined with the fact that when they were stealing the rings, they also stole the templates afterwards, and I thought that would prevent the theft because I'm very creative. They probably had never seen anything like the ring. Once they stole the template and are able to recreate similar rings, I thought they would stop. And it turns out that even with the hieroglyph template, they're still stealing my originals because I guess they realize I descend from these guys right here that built the pyramids, the ancient Egyptians. Little background: I'm Nigerian. Yoruba tribe, and we descend from the people that made these pyramids and that understood the concepts, some of the concepts that go along with the all seeing the eye and stuff like that. So, I guess that's why they place such a high value on anything that's produced by these heads. So, I mean, before we even start talking about my music or anything else that I do creatively, just to touch on some of the art and fashion concepts. I mean, that alone is like, that's worth a lot of money. I mean, it's like a Pablo Picasso, for Pete's sakes. I mean, it's like, if they got the same template and they can replicate similar works, but due to my expertise they will only steal mine because they believe that I know how to arrange the symbols to be able to harness some type of mystical power or something like that, which isn't what they're thinking it is. But I mean, if they have that deep of an occultic belief in what I'm producing, then I should be able to collect from that, you know, financially when I sell them. They're worth that much approximately. They're worth organizing upwards of 15 people at probably $100 a pop to orchestrate something to pull off a steal of one of my rings. And due to the fact of that and the great demand and limited supply and demand ratio, is one of a kind works of art. Um, and I don't have mass manufacturing capabilities, so it's kind of like a Bentley. It's a little bit more than some others because each one's a one of a kind original, and you know it's has me estimating these things upwards of like $1,000-$2,000 a pop. So that's a little background right now on the art. I'm going to touch on some other things and some upcomings, and that concludes episode 2 for right now. Peace.